Just a reminder to all media, please put your affiliation in, your name, so that way we know where you're from when we call on you. Thank you. Perfect. Let's begin. Thank you for joining us today for Super Bowl 55 and media availability with Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver coach Kevin Garver. As a reminder, you need to have your organization along with your name in the chat function in order to be called upon. In addition, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of your chat in order to be called on. Thank you. And so let's start out with Robert Mays of The Athletic.
Hey, Kevin, can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. I really appreciate you doing this. It's very strange, but thanks for the time. So last year when you guys got there, what do you remember about the dialogue between you and Byron and Bruce about just the ways you wanted to use Chris within the offense? How did you kind of expand and create his role as you guys were trying to set the table of what you guys wanted to be offensively?
Yeah, when we got here, we evaluated everyone on the roster, evaluated all the guys from the previous season, and we really saw something in Chris. He was a young player, but really did a lot of good things and really kind of fit into that mold of what we did with Fitzgerald at the Cardinals, and we kind of saw him in that role as a guy that could be the F for us, could be the slot when we have 3 wide receiver sets, could be the Z for us when we have 2 wide receiver sets. Really brings a lot to the table just from physicality, right? He's going to be involved in the run game, can make those grimy catches, has ability to run great routes and get off press coverage. So that's really the fit that we saw in him.
Great. Next question will come from Martenzi Johnson of ESPN.
Hi, Kevin. I imagine a lot of Scottie Miller's production comes down to, his talents and you all's game planning. But I was wondering if you believe some of his production, like the touchdown at the end of the first half of the NFC Championship game, you think that comes down to the defender not realizing or maybe forgetting how fast he actually is?
Some of it could be that. Yeah, maybe some guys underestimate him at times. But at the end of the day, you go into a game plan, guys' strengths and weaknesses. So they probably knew, that this is their speed guy and his ability. But based off his size and all that, sure, there could be some underestimating going on.
Great. Next, we will go to Dan Wider of the Chicago Tribune.
Did I lose you there?
I got you now.
Okay, gotcha. As far as Scotty goes, what for you has been especially notable about his growth this season? And along with that, what ways do you think Tom has helped take him to a new level?
I think the answer to both those questions is confidence. He came in here as a rookie, did some really good things for us, really excelled in a lot of areas. But I think having that first year under his belt and getting that experience and then coming in with a similar type offense for year 2, I think it's nothing but confidence. And then having a guy like Tom Brady that's able to help you in your game, within your game, maybe give him some tips here and there, just some things that he's seen over the years working with different receivers. I think that all those things really equate to playing more confident.
Great. Next question will come from Josh Weinfuss of ESPN.
What's up, Kevin?
What's up, Josh? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hey, so, Bruce isn't calling plays in Tampa, and how have you seen him taking that off his plate? How have you seen that kind of help his stress level? Is he any different now than he was in Arizona?
He's the same guy. BA. He's going to be who he is. He doesn't really care what other people think, which is what everyone appreciates about him. But no, he's the same guy. Consistent every day. And I think it is it's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing for me that he's allowed to be the head coach and see everything as a whole and kind of help in every aspect of the team.
Great. Next, we will go to Anton Bottleson of NIT TV3.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you for taking the time. I was wondering, a lot of people counted you guys out before the season just because the fact that there would be no off season, having a new quarterback, even Tom Brady coming into your offense and had to get in rhythm with all the receivers. How did you manage to make this work and AP coming in the middle of the season when these guys had no time to prepare during the summer?
It took a lot of hard work, and I really commend the locker room because that's what it's about. These guys really came together and bonded together and were willing to work together and do the extra things that they needed to do to get to this point. Obviously, a very talented group as a whole, but that only gets you so far. So I think that they really did a phenomenal job of just putting in that extra time, having a lot of extra meetings on their own, going through just every aspect, the ins and outs of the game and what's gonna come up throughout the season. And you know, I mean, like I said, those guys did a phenomenal job of really bonding together, buying in, and making it about the team opposed to any individuals.
Next question will come again from Robert Mays of The Athletic.
Hey, Kevin. I wanted to explore that Larry Fitzgerald idea a little bit more. Joe Moorhead actually told me they used a certain route concept at Penn State that was derived from what they did with Larry at Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like Chris's strengths line up with Larry's. They're sneakily fast, really thick, really strong. Is it almost kind of eerie to you how similar their playing styles are and how much their roles could align? It's almost as if there wasn't much imagination necessary for how you were going to use Chris and the ways that you could kind of expand the way that you used him.
Yeah, you know, I got Fitz there a little bit later on in his career, where I was able to get with Chris earlier on in his career. But there's definitely a lot of similarities. You know, just some that come to my mind, just their toughness. Both those guys really are extremely tough, great teammates, work extremely hard every day, don't complain. Those are some things that definitely stick out to me when I, you know, kind of compare both of those guys and just my time with both of them.
Great. Next question will come again from Martinzi Johnson of ESPN.
I have another Scotty question. Could you tell me, or, you know, the first time you saw his speed up close and personal, like what that moment was like, and did you think he was faster than you thought he was, or, you know, that you had seen on tape? Kind of take me through that first time seeing that.
So we were scouting, you know, we were evaluating guys in the off season and kind of going through that whole process. And one of our scouts on staff had come across Scotty's tape and really under the radar type guy, and really brought it to our attention. And so I remember it was early one morning. I mean, it might have been about 5:30 in the morning. So I put on this tape, and I'm really kind of blown away just the way this guy's playing, just the way his tape looked. And so I actually call him, not even thinking that the time was different, right? We were an hour ahead of him. And he ended up calling me back about 30 minutes later. And so we had set up a meeting to go up there and visit with him and to see what he was about and go to his pro day. And that was the first time that I got to see him run live. So I think not really surprised. I think it more confirmed. It more confirmed how fast he was, because really for me in the evaluation process, I try to watch the tape and not get concentrated necessarily on the numbers. It's the numbers and all that's definitely a part of the process, but really looking at the tape and seeing what they do and making sure that it translates, right? You see guys that run 4.3s and they really don't play that fast, right? So I think it was more of a confirmation when he did run at his pro day, and then seeing what he does on tape.
Just a reminder to media, please include your media affiliation along with your name. Having said that, moving on to Dan Widerer again of the Chicago Tribune.
Kevin, in that early morning film viewing of Scotty, what were the things on that tape that were jumping out to you? And do you remember if it was a specific game that you were watching?
I watched a bunch of games. I can't tell you the exact game, but really him playing fast, his ability to get open. The biggest thing that jumped out to me, though, is his ability to play the ball in the air, especially down the field. Sometimes that can be challenging, when the ball gets put up in the air, a deep ball, a post, running something down the middle, and his ability to track the ball and get the job done.
Next question will come from Harold Kuntz of Fox 4.
Hey, Coach, I just want to get your impressions on the Chiefs secondary, especially with a guy like L'Jarius Sneed coming back. And then what did you learn from that first game that you can take into going into this game in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, very, very talented group. They play extremely well together. They're going to be physical. I think that they have that mindset every down. I mean, they're going to try to get their hands on us. They're going to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be, ball hawks, going to try to get their hands on the ball. Having some experience being around Tyrann Mathieu, obviously that's one of his biggest traits. Just being an athlete and finding ways to make plays on the field. We take all that into consideration. Evaluated all those things from the first game. And really that's kind of what we're preparing for, right? Every day. That's our mindset going into it daily and understanding what we got to go up against when we face them.
Next question will come from Joshua Allen of the Bucs Report.
How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Tyler Johnson, he obviously had that crazy catch against the Saints and then had one just go right off his fingertips against the Packers. What do you attribute to the success that he's had, especially going back to training camp when he was severely limited with injury, and the depth of this wide receiver core that he's been able to carve out a role even in the postseason?
Going into this year for rookies was very challenging just because they missed out on a lot of on-field work. Which is big for that position, for our position. However, on the other side of it, he was able to get a lot of the mental stuff down because that's all we were able to do. A bunch of meetings like this, just sitting on here for, an hour every day, kind of going through the offense and talking through the ins and outs and watching film together. So I think that part of it helped from a mental standpoint and learning and getting down the offense. But then coming here when everyone's able to report and then dealing with an injury, kind of missed out on the physical part of it, the motor skill part of it, learning how to run the routes and get out of the breaks. But I commend him because, he really worked on it throughout the year, took the feedback, the things that I would talk to him weekly, things that I needed him to improve on. So I think he took it upon himself. And also had the drive and the want to play, right? It wasn't just – the thing about the NFL is it's not just about being here, right? I mean, you see it all the time. Guys get here or get to the league or get on the team and they don't make it, right? They're cut. We've had guys at the Cardinals that we've drafted and didn't make the roster. So I think that he knows that. He realized that. He wanted to play, even though he has a lot of respect for the guys that are above him and the guys that have made it to this point, but he wants to play. So he knew what he needed to do to get to that point.
Next question will come from John Ledyard of the Peter Report.
Hey, Kevin, I'm just curious about, obviously you go back and you watch the tape of all these games and you kind of look at what could have been done better. And last time you guys played the Chiefs back in week 12, it seemed like they blitzed almost about half the time. And I'm just wondering how you felt like the receiving group handled those situations in terms of hots and being aware of those things. Was that something you came out of that game looking to focus on? Were there some issues with that in that game or people being on the same page?
Well, we see pressure all the time. I mean, being with Coach Bowles, he likes to bring a lot of pressure. So it's nothing new for us. We see pressure throughout the year. I think our biggest thing when we look at it, and go back and watch the tape, I think it's execution, right? I mean, we really did a good job of staying on staying within the sticks. We had a lot of manageable third down situations, and we didn't get the job done. So I think that's the biggest part for me when we look at it, and when I look at it and say we gotta execute in those situations. We gotta move the ball. When we get in those situations, we're not in third and long situations. We got to move the ball. So that's really my biggest take from the first game.
Next question will come from Christopher Holmes of NFL Chile. Chris, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so thank you, Coach. The season after the bye week turned around in a big way, and I just wanted to know how hard has it been to manage all these big target receivers and all these mouths to feed, and pro athletes have big egos, and what was the most challenging part of it?
I think we have a great group, unbelievable group of guys. Sometimes, there's things out there about that position, about being prima donnas, and there's that whole message out there. But at the end of the day, I think if you have a group of guys that are committed to the same thing, and that's winning at the end of the day, I think all that stuff plays itself out. I commend Mike and Chris. They've been here the longest. They've been the leaders of that group. Bringing AB in and accepting him in that room, and then AB coming in and being committed and buying into the things that we're trying to do, and to really see those guys come together has really been unbelievable. That they're excited for each other when someone makes a play or somebody scores or gets a first down. That's been really good. But at the end of the day, those guys want the ball, and every receiver in the league wants the ball. So you got to find ways to get everybody involved, and that's a part of it.
Next question will come from Robert Mays of The Athletic.
Hey, Kevin. So there was a play in the NFC Championship game, and I think you ran the same one in week 1. It's a play where Chris kind of inserts a play action play inside and then releases. What do you remember about the genesis of that design and kind of how it came about and the ways it fits Chris and kind of fits what you guys want to do offensively?
Yeah, so we try to make everything look the same as much as we can. We use Chris a lot in the run game. So it's a play where we do bring him in there tight and making it look like a run situation. So really that was kind of the whole idea of it. It's something that we've used in the past. It's something that we have had in game plans before. We just haven't had opportunities to maybe get to it. But I think that's the whole idea. As much as you can make your offense look the same, whether it's formations, whether it's motions, whether it's splits, that's kind of the whole idea of it.
Great. Next question will come from Anton Bottleson of NIT TV3.
Yeah, you kind of already answered this, but I just wanted to know, can you talk a little bit about when Antonio Brown came into the receiver group? I guess even though you said these guys got along and were happy on each other's behalf, there kind of must still have been a hierarchy where he kind of had to fit in. Wasn't there a transition period for him to get accustomed and everybody kind of knew their new places in the group? Definitely.
There's was of course a transition period, being with a new team, a new teammate. You're adding in the middle of the year, and you're adding a teammate in the middle of the year with a pandemic. Where you really can't do anything outside of the football building or outside of practice or outside of the meetings. So that was a challenge in some ways to kind of get to know everybody. Right, you miss that aspect of it. And kind of learn about who people are. But I think that, again, I think those guys did a great job with each other and working together and working to get to this point.
Next question will come from James Palmer of NFL Media.
Kevin, I was with you guys a lot during training camp, and you guys getting on the same page with Tom. Everybody knows Patrick Mahomes moves his eyes all over the place, no look stuff, but Tom does it quite a bit, looking one way really, really late. How impressed are you with the way Tom does that, and what was that adjustment for your whole group with how late he can look at a guy?
Our biggest thing in our room is be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. You don't control when the ball is coming to you, how it's coming to you. So I don't think it's really that big from a receiver standpoint, because once they get to their break, they're all expecting the ball, right? So it doesn't matter whether it comes to them late or whether the first read in the progression, second read, or it's a scramble situation. Now we're in adjust mode, but I don't think that that's a real big adjustment for them.
As a reminder, we have 10 minutes left. Next question will come from Corey Spector of Syracuse University.
Hey, Coach, just curious how you've seen Tyler Johnson develop throughout this season. And even though he doesn't, rack up the numbers when he's called upon, make some really tough contested catches, have you seen him develop throughout the year?
Yeah, he's done a phenomenal job. Has been really committed, has really put a lot of extra time into it. Whether it's meetings or whether it's trying to get some extra stuff on the field or asking questions. I think he's done a good job of getting in shape and understanding what that means in the National Football League. So I think that seeing his body change too, right? In this amount of time, I think he's been able to lose some weight and has really done a good job in the weight room throughout the season to get to that point. And then being able to keep your mind right throughout the season, right? You're coming in as a rookie, you get drafted. You're the guy in college, you're the man, you're making all these plays, you're scoring touchdowns, and then you come to a place like the Bucs with our room and having guys like Mike and Chris and Antonio Brown and Scotty and these guys that have been here and kind of established themselves. So, now you're sitting here in the fifth spot, and that can be tough and it can be challenging. But I think if you're committed, and you know what you're working towards, and you know what it looks like, to go through the daily process and preparing yourself to when your time comes, you're ready to go. You don't think twice, you don't blink. You're ready for that moment, and I think he did that.
Next question will come from John Ledyard of the Peter Report.
Kevin, Mike has played more in the slot this season, I think, than any other year of his career. I'm just curious from a coaching standpoint, even though he's obviously super experienced and has been around the block, was there things you had to get with Mike and be like, all right, you're in the slot now more than you've been before. Some things are changing. Here's kind of what the new picture looks like for you. Was that something you had to coach him on? Was it supernatural for him? Just what was that process like?
A little bit of both. He spent a lot of his career being outside. And we did it some last year, obviously more this year, but it's conversations that we had with him, knowing what teams try to do to him, throughout the year or throughout really both years here with him. And we really saw a lot of it, whether teams were, trying to play cover two and or some type of double team over there to him as the single guy. So we felt like it was important to move him around and really force defenses to know where he's at all times. Some of the things were extremely natural to him because of who he is as a player and as an athlete. And then some other things maybe just took a couple more reps for him to do to feel comfortable doing it. Maybe it was new routes for him. Had to get a couple more in routes first air or maybe show him a couple of clips of the routes just so he's comfortable with those.
Next question will come from Dan Wider of the Chicago Tribune.
Kevin, with 6 seconds left before halftime at Lambeau Field, BA said that he knew it was a touchdown as soon as you guys lined up. I'm curious what your eyes saw and your brain was telling you before the snap. And then from Scotty's standpoint, is there anything special to that, or is that just fifth grade playground run as fast as you can in the end zone stuff?
Yeah, a little bit of that. I mean, I think I was a little bit surprised. I think that, they were probably maybe anticipating us playing for the field goal in that situation. but when they lined up, I'm kind of on the same page as BA. You know, when they lined up, I was feeling pretty good about the chance to get the ball down the field once I heard Byron call the play. So that was pretty cool play there. Pretty special play for Scotty and Tom in that moment, and really big for us also. You know, being able to score before half, and then you know, coming out from halftime and scoring on our first drive.
Perfect. This will be our last question of the session. It comes from Leo Haggerty of It Sports Magazine.
Coach, talking about your 5 wide receivers, they all have unique but different skill sets. When you and Byron put together a game plan, are you like mad scientists trying to put together position groups and kind of having a little fun with it?
I don't know. I don't know if I would call us mad scientists, but no, it is really fun and really fun when you have a lot of talented guys and guys bring different abilities to the table. And you know, you think about all those things as you're game planning and thinking about putting guys in the right positions for what they do best. And one of the great things about my room is those guys can do a lot of different things. So it kind of makes our job a lot easier really every week, you know, when guys can really do it all.
Perfect. Well, that concludes today's media availability with Kevin Garver. Thank you for everyone with the questions, and have a good rest of your day.
Appreciate you guys. Oh.